everyone. I am Ashmi, and I'm the author of Anchoring the Light, the new earth way of living, creating, and becoming all that you are.
Hello, Ashmi.
Hello, Bonnie.
I'm Bonnie, and I'm the painter of the Anchoring the Light book cover. And beautiful dear friend Ashmi here asked me to paint the frequency of this book into life, and it was such a deep, deep honor to be asked, and an incredible process to do it. And yeah, so we thought we'd come here and have a little chat, have a conversation about the book, about the painting, and
share the story.
Yeah, see what comes through.
Yeah, I'm biased, but I feel like it's the most beautiful painting and cover. And yeah, the moment I thought of who should be the one to paint this cover and bring it to life. And it's not just a cover, it's the energy of the book, the energy of my vision. And I thought of you right away, and I was like, it's Bonnie. She knows my heart. She knows how to channel beauty into form, and she knows how to take a vision and just bring it to life. And you can see and feel it right here. And yeah, you did so amazing. I'm so grateful for you. And yeah, it's so magical to share that. And a fun fact is we both were pregnant while creating this book. So I was pregnant while writing it. You were pregnant while painting it.
I was pregnant while painting it. And I remember when Ashmi asked me to paint it, and my initial reaction was like,
what?
Absolutely not. I was like, I guess, something that I feel this book really speaks to is that, and which was a big process for me, was this big fear of like, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, I can't do it.
That's Bonnie's dog.
Alika over there.
With the cone head. Alika.
Yeah, a lot of fear, and that it wouldn't be good enough. And I honestly, I said, Ashmi, or maybe I remember saying, Ashmi, maybe you could do it, or we could do it together, or
you could paint on top of my painting. I was like, no way, I'm not going to touch your painting. You're the artist.
You just had so much belief in me, and I was obviously ready to step up into that part of myself. And this painting was, my entire being realizing who I am and what I'm capable of, and believing in myself, and like seeing that part that came up as fear, and holding that lovingly and being like, and you can still do it. And I feel like I'm a completely different person.
Yeah, from both are.
When I've did this, well, there's two paintings anyway, that story will be told later. When I've done these two paintings to now, and the main transmission of it was this, it's like the fear no longer stopped me from just acting and being, and I was able to realize the potential within me.
Yeah.
So.
And the writing journey was really similar, because this book is about embodiment. It's about embodying your light and walking through your fears and your shadows, and seeing what it's like to live beyond or transcend those fears and alchemize them. And for me, I also had to move through so many fears and blocks and doubts, and also my mental kind of need to plan and be on top of things. Like all of this old programming of you need to hustle and push yourself and control had to go out the window, because I was trying to write it like I normally would, way in advance. But then we conceived our son, and I was nauseous for the first 3 months. I couldn't do anything. The book deadline kept approaching, and I literally had 6 months to write and edit it. And I was freaking out, and I knew I had to let go of my fears and just yeah, and keep surrendering and keep trusting more and more in the perfect orchestration, that this is divinely timed and that it will come through. And the more I get out of the head, the more it will flow. And I had to surrender. I had no choice. And in the second trimester, I got my energy back. I wasn't nauseous anymore, and I was able to write it. And it was channeled in meditative sessions where I just dropped into my heart and I recorded myself speaking out loud and tuned into source, my higher self, and channeled out loud. And then those transcripts were later edited. So it flowed through the moment I got out of my head, but it really challenged me until I got to that point of total surrender and trust.
Yeah, and I feel like, both becoming mothers,
Mm,
it's such a massive initiation, and it brings up exactly what you need in a sense of challenge to grow yourself and to, yeah, like you said, you were kind of forced, but forced in like a powerful, like life force energy, like helping you along. And yeah, I feel that it's like that combination of coming into motherhood whilst you were writing this book, just and what this book is about of embodiment is, and that it kind of, what's the word yet, like it just like it was like it's
moving through me.
Yeah, moving through. And same with this painting, it was like, it's like the message was like, no longer are we going to be stuck at that threshold that keeps pushing us back, or we keep looping, or we can't see our fears or our shadows, or we keep pushing away from them, or being scared of them, or not seeing them. It's like, it's time. Like, it's time to face them, see them, be ready to face the challenge, be ready to go through the fire, be ready to, and it's not always hard, but also just show up and to step forward. And yeah, this painting was me again and again and again, showing up and meeting that part of myself that was like, you can't do this or whatever. And then a combination of just seeing that, choosing to be like, I'm just going to show up, and I'm going to dance, and I'm going to move, and I'm going to get out of my way.
Spill the cacao.
Get out of my own way so that this book can receive the frequency through the painting. And even when I was painting it, I was like, oh no, like, am I doing the wrong thing? Like, I'm all of these, this stuff is coming up for me, and I'm supposed to be all perfectly, just like painting every single like thing with perfection, and like God source flowing through me, and yet I'm having to face this like inner wall and fear and resistance. And but the beauty was in that journey, like, because it would start there, and then it would have some like, and then there would be a breakthrough, and then there would be the flow, and feeling like God, channeling through me, painting this painting, source, whatever you want to call it, life, divine, life force, flowing through me. And then, yeah, just it's like, and in the past, it would get up to that wall, it would get up to the resistance, and I wouldn't always break through. So
it's very like the theme of the book, to anchor the light. We often think, or we hear in the circles, that it's all about the light work and the meditation, the blissful work. But actually, to anchor more light, you need to sit with your shadow and face the parts of you that you've suppressed or rejected. And this is not just from this lifetime, it's lifetimes of emotions and traumas and fears coming up over and over. And in order to bring more light there, you need to sit with it and feel it and illuminate it. And I feel like your journey yeah, painting kind of reflects that. And what I walk people through in the book is how to move through that so that you can truly feel your light and how whole you are, how perfect you are, just as you are, and bring that knowing as your soul into this life as an embodied form so that you can feel it, trust it, know it, and live as it. Because a lot of us know these concepts like, yes, I am the light, I am everything, I am divinely held, but how many of us actually feel that, especially in your moments of challenge and things coming up and you feeling thrown in the depths of your emotions? It feels hard to feel the divinity within you and that you are in those moments. And yeah, for me, this book was kind of born from the questioning of, is it true that I am all? I am everything, I am connected, I am held, and how can I walk and anchor that knowing, especially when it's hard, especially when I have doubts, especially when I feel alone? And how do I navigate this ascension? And how do we bring the new earth to life as a real reality that you can actually feel and see before your eyes instead of just a faraway dream, a concept in your head? And all of this questioning led me to, yeah, channel through my heart's deepest questions and, yeah, bring through the essence of the book. And it's like pure hope and comfort and knowing and inspiration that my soul needed to hear. Yeah. But,
Yeah, and when I, witness Ashmi and what she shares and how she's channeling and creating things for the world and the people that are following her and what it is that, oh, it nearly makes me want to cry. I don't know why. It's just as we wake up, like as we collectively wake up to who we truly are individually and together, there can be times where it feels scary and alone and challenging. And I just see that Ashmi is here to give that comfort of you're not alone in what you're going through, and that reminder and remembering of your heart, of your strength, of your courage in these times, and yeah, of who you truly are. And it's like we're all walking each other home and we all have different things in the minute moment to share and give to each other. And yeah, this book is another place to continue to show up in your life in that union with yourself, with each other. And yeah, it's like those big ones, of feeling alone, of feeling scared, of feeling out of trust, can hit all of us at different times. And this book and Ashmi's like offerings I see are often just the biggest hug, and the biggest, like, you're doing so perfectly just as you are. And I'm gonna cry too.
I feel like that's because I have felt alone, in growing up in this world, not knowing exactly what I'm meant to be doing or who I am or where I belong. And even walking this path, people call it the spiritual path or ascension path or whatever you want to call it, you can feel more and more lonely the further and deeper you go because you feel like less people kind of see things the way you do, or you feel crazy sometimes, or you feel like maybe I'm just going way too far off into, the la la land. And yeah, I have felt alone and wanting that comfort in myself. And that's why I kept seeking that, seeking the answers from my soul, my higher self. Yeah, the comfort, the voice of truth and wisdom and knowing that. And the more I wrote and the more I trusted it, the more I channeled, the stronger it came through. And now I feel like it is a part of me, this ability to hear it and trust it And I feel like everyone has that. It's just we don't always trust it. We don't always listen, and we doubt it so much that it becomes really squeezed down and pushed down. But I believe everyone has the ability to tune in and channel, and you don't have to call it channeling, but trust the knowing of your heart and your soul and follow that, because that is the path to your highest joy, your fulfillment, everything you've ever dreamt of. That's the path your soul is nudging you on. And the moment you start listening to that over the voice of your mind or your fears or society telling you not to be that way, the more you break free from the old. And it's really hard because it feels like the whole world is going that way and you're trying to go the other way. And all your childhood wounds and everything's going to come up against you. But the more you listen, the more the doors fly open, the more support you feel, the more magic and synchronicities can come in to support you. And I talk about that in the book too, with anecdotes. And yeah, this journey is really, you're listening to this now because you're being called to trust your soul and listen and be fully you and shine your light. And I really believe that. And I feel like that will help so many people who feel lost, who feel like they don't know where they belong or who they are or what they're meant to be doing. Yeah, to find that light within. And that is your North Star, that guiding compass. Yeah.
I'll just sit and listen to you.
No, we're both doing it. It's hard, and we support each other, and we're able to. I'm very lucky to have a friend like you that we can share the ups and downs and talk. And you get it. Like, we talk so often. It's really weird, and it's hard to say this to just people on the street or friends. But you are everything in the most literal, tangible way possible. You are consciousness. You are everything. And when you really contemplate that and feel that, at first you're going to feel so lonely. You're going to feel like, well, if I'm everything, then there's no one outside of me, and I'm supposed to be the one to guide myself. And it can bring up loneliness, this existential loneliness. But on the other side of that is also the beauty of knowing you're connected to everything, and so you're never alone. And life is just this beautiful, magical fabric of consciousness reflecting back to you all that you are. And yeah, embracing that can make you feel so held in ways, and bigger than just you're human. You can feel infinite, and that's something that's kind of touching the edges of consciousness right now, and humanity's opening up to that idea a little bit, especially in the spiritual circles, but also some movies that touch on it. But people don't really live day to day with this at the forefront, and we forget, and then we go back into separation or fear or lack or limitation, thinking you're small, you're powerless, that you're not, this is not your creation, you're not your reality responding to you. And I feel like we're here to break free of that and pave a new way where you do feel the limitlessness that you are, and how this reality is more fluid. It's responding to you.
Yeah, and I there's like so many points I just want to anchor down.
We're going everywhere.
And you've kind of come full circle back to the first point that came through around when you were talking about when some people go, oh, am I going too woo-woo? Or and this, it's an acknowledgement of the human and the spirit and the journey of the human to realizing and remembering all that it is, and that is embodied and moment to moment, and is very anchored in the human realm. It doesn't mean you need to go out or away or from who you are in this place, but it's to let go of the attachments to who you think you are, or to your fears or emotions, or that which kind of anything really. Like, it's all moving, it's constantly moving. So to let yourself be taken with the tide of the ocean, and to see it as this beautiful unfolding, and to continue to let go and not hold on to or any of it, whilst also having the beautiful sense of connection and support and healthy attachment to the unfolding. It's such a we're in such big polarities, and just that in any moment, in every moment, it can shift like that, like the perspective or the remembering, or from fear to love, or from this is so effed up to I feel so supported. It's like a remembering moment to moment. And one of my birth affirmations was, birth is constantly inviting you in, and that if I ever felt like I was coming out or feeling scared or like I was out of flow or something, that there was constantly this invitation. There was always an opening. And I feel like that also applies to life, and that there's always an invitation in the moment in some way to find union over separation, or love over fear, or even just with yourself. Like, it doesn't even matter with, well, it does not that it doesn't matter, but just to, like, within yourself, there's always that invitation of like, how in this moment can I see and hold loving awareness for whatever's arising. Or I mean, I feel like we could talk for so long. Maybe if there's any questions you want to go through.
I remember some of them. What is the new earth for me?
What, Ashmi? What? Because
a few friends submitted questions.
In her title, it says the new earth, anchoring the light, the new earth way of living, creating and becoming all that you are.
How do I begin?
So what is the new earth to you?
So starting with that idea that you are everything, and letting go of the idea of seeing yourself as a human through this lens of separation, and realizing this reality is a holographic projection of your consciousness, a divine projection of your consciousness. Everything outside of you is created first from within. And so the new earth is not a faraway realm or a separate place. It is a reality, the highest frequency of the earth and of reality, that you bring to life by unlocking through your own frequency, your own alignment, your embodiment. And the more we walk this journey of anchoring the light, this ascension journey, walking through the shadow, feeling it all, and bringing more love and light into your being, and remembering all that you are, as you walk into this knowing, this embodiment, this frequency of everything around you upgrades and activates to reflect back to you all that you are. And so it's not another planet or anything. We're not flying, over there. It's you bring it to life when you tap in and tune into that frequency within. And I believe it's already here. It's already overlaying this dimension, this physical 3D reality. But you can't feel it, you can't taste it, you can't see it when you're not fully in your heart, when you're not in that frequency. But more and more people are glimpsing it and feeling it and tuning into it. And it's when you really feel your heart open and you feel the vibrancy of everything around you, and time slows down, and you feel like you've entered another dimension. And I talk about this experience Joel and I had in the book. But it's not something that we have fully anchored. So we only got like a 10-day glimpse of it, or a few hours here and there. And then you feel like you drop back in density and you're back in your head or your fears. But what we're being shown is the more you walk this path, the more you open to your light, the more it actually comes to life and can be held by your frequency to the point where the whole world around you shifts. And this is the path we're walking and what I believe humanity is heading towards. But we all need to recognize it within and tune into it and bring it to life from within. And this is the book that will walk you through that in how you actually bring it to life.
Okay, so I have a question in relation to what you're sharing. And because what comes up for me is, okay, so what about the big challenges in the world of war and politics and some pretty, like scary things and ideas of control that are out there in this world right now. And I'm also in that phase of my life of motherhood where I'm feeling this more anchored sense of deep care and love and responsibility in showing up for being the change I want to see in the world. And I'm just wondering how, what your thoughts are around, the big, scary stuff that it's like unfathomable, some of the things that are happening.
Yeah, and it feels more heightened and painful and scary and heart-wrenching than ever before in a way, because the world right now, you see all the pain, the chaos, the war, the fear, people suffering, and it feels like it's getting worse and worse out there in a sense, especially if you're watching the news and talking to people. It's absolutely heart-wrenching. And in the book, I talk about how all of this is coming up for humanity to see and feel, because this is the shadow, this is the pain, this is the wounding that has been here for centuries, but now it's being seen and felt by more hearts than ever before. Even thanks to technology, like we're able to feel it and see it more than anyone has ever in any other decade, and people will be in fear, in victimhood, in judgment, in division. You're seeing in politics right now. People get really pulled into those energies because it's coming up. It's like the world is purging and bringing it to the surface so that we can see it. And at the same time, millions and millions more are cracking open their hearts to feel more empathy, to feel more care. And this is calling people into their hearts to demand a brand new way. This way, it's breaking. The systems are breaking. This way is no longer working. And our hearts are saying no more. Like, we don't want this anymore. And what we're realizing as we go through this awakening journey is a lot of this suffering and pain has been held in place and perpetuated by many systems that don't serve humanity, many old ways of being that are hurting us more than helping us, right? A lot of corruption at the top, all of that. But also just this disconnection from the soul and empathy that has been kind of rooted in humanity, in the shadow of humanity, that is now kind of being cracked. We don't want to be disconnected anymore. And it requires us to open our hearts to shift and feel a brand new way as possible. And some people will say, but you need to go to the streets and, protest, and you need to scream and do all this. And yes, that there's a place for that. But I also feel like there's so much power in, like you said, being the change you want to see in the world, holding that frequency of love and rippling it out into your life, your family, your communities, however you can, because when everyone does that, look how quickly the whole world will change. And being that for, as a mother, it's like you're raising the next generation, and we're so lucky to be in beautiful, conscious relationships where both of us, like the man and woman, both of us are showing up. I'm talking about our relationships, are showing up with love and raising these kids in a brand new way, through empathy. And yeah, we'll be teaching them so much as the years come. But that's how we, yeah, ripple it out into our lives, into our physical reality.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, something that comes up for me sometimes is that sadness, or like feeling of, there's so much out there,
yeah,
and then where to put my energy and my time, and also like I keep coming back, well, where I'm at now with it is that, yeah, it's time for me to, or like the greatest gift I can do is to really,
it's okay. Greatest gift I can give. Edit.
It's because it's a big topic. It's a big thing to respond to, and everyone's going through so many different versions of life and experience and abilities and capabilities, and suffering and joy. And I guess what I want to say is that I feel I will continue to work on or be the connection to love and the connection to union, and not, I can't even answer it. I can't.
It's okay. Because I feel like this block comes because you're thinking about how, but someone else can say, oh, no, but someone else is gonna say, but what about this or this? And it feels scary to respond because there's a lot of people in the world, yes, feeling the victimhood and saying, but you should do more, or, like, I don't know, or judging that you're not doing enough, or that you're to this or to that. And yeah, it's a scary topic to fully, because there's so many other aspects of it that I haven't even covered in my answer to, that it feels like I'm going to be judged no matter how I answer this question, But I think what you're trying to say is your greatest gift is to be fully you in that love and shine that into
to be fully courageous in my life, to fully show up in my life, to fully in the little moments when I connect with a stranger or something, connect from the heart. And if I feel, and when I feel called to do and act things in my community, or even in relation to the bigger things, it's like it's just not being scared of it, and it's facing it, and it's just asking us to face it with love and compassion and strength and anchoring, and that we will, it's doing this same thing in your own life, and not to change this outer experience of what's going on, which feels out of control, but in your own life to be, I will be that change in my life in every way I can. And then, if, like you said, if we're all doing that, if it just, the ripple effect is so big. And what my teacher Shanti Mai would say is, like, a yogi, like, there's no sense of time, there's no like logical sense of time, even though it seems that way, and to allow there to be, it to take as long as it needs, and our what we show up for in this life, and how that ripples forward to our children, to the years to come. Like, we are such a tiny little speck in the bigger, grander, greater of it all. And so, one, like, realize how powerful and potent just completely showing up in our life is, and in it will get us to act in certain ways that feel from strength and love and connection, and for this new earth. And also, like, surrendering to, like, I don't know how long this will take to shift, whether it feels like years and years and years and years and years, but actually it's this little blip of a second, or but realizing how important it is where we are right now, as well as how just letting it have its time, because the journey to it is the beautiful bit that we get to experience. Like we get to be a part of each moment of that shift, and how like embodied and powerful and beautiful that is to remember. Like that's the beautiful bit for me.
Yeah, and I talk about how you don't shift the suffering of the world from the same frequency. So if if you're in judgment and blame and shame and victimhood, you're feeding those stories in your head and projecting it out with anger to the world. That's not going to actually make a huge difference. It's not going to shift.
Well, it's going to create more hurt.
Yes. And so if you really want to shift your reality and the reality of the entire world that you experience, bringing the light into the shadow, right? Being that light, being that love, that is the energy that can actually ripple out and change and alchemize everything, because that's the energy that brings forward new ideas, opportunities, resources, flow, people, systems that actually serve the good of humanity. That's how we create worlds, right? We cannot create from a lower frequency of density and victimhood and judgment. So each of us, it's kind of this beautiful invitation to notice where you're in fear or judgment or blame or shame, and notice what stories are coming up in your head, and where, in your body it feels like, where do you feel tight or afraid? All of us have this. Where is it coming from lifetimes and your childhood? It doesn't really matter the story. It's more so feeling it and knowing that, you don't have to live rooted from there anymore. You can bring love to it and find this love and empowerment within to shift that. So that you can feel the light coming in and embody that.
And because in these moments that arise throughout life, that can, what is your anchor to the light? What is your anchor to the light? What is your anchor to courage? What is your anchor to love? Like, how do you, because sometimes it can be scary or just feel so much resistance to or hurt, or just those big things that can feel so big in the moment and then can feel so consuming, or the thoughts, or what is your anchor to light, to love, to courage, to
It's a beautiful question. I feel like it's kind of weird to say, but it's my own soul nudging me, and almost like your soul leaves breadcrumbs for you on your path of life to keep awakening you, to keep opening you, to keep. And sometimes a breadcrumb is a challenge that forces you to dig deeper and to trust and surrender, because there's no other way through it. And I feel like, at a soul level, you came here to awaken, and whatever that means for you, whether it's remembering who you are, to step into your heart, to step into knowing all that you are, or your empowerment in this world. Following those little nudges and breadcrumbs of your soul, that's my anchor that has kept me going from childhood. Because when things were the hardest ever, and really traumatic and really painful, that little inner voice and knowing of this light within me, or reason for being, or there's something more to life than this, that little whisper is what kept me going through the hardest times. And even now when it's really hard, yeah, that's like the sunlight I turn towards. And yeah, I really feel like it's my reason for being here, just to keep following, yeah, the truth of my soul, the whispers, and keep expanding my consciousness and awakening to all that I am. And in doing that, I can then share that frequency with the world so that others can remember who they are. And I feel like that's the highest way I can in this life share my light with the world, you know?
Mm. Yeah, I just had this visual, because I'm a very visual person, of this kind of like this opening of this visual aspect this way, and then like a turning, and then this opening of this visual aspect, and it's the same forest, and it's the same, you know, surroundings, but that way, yeah, there's fear or resistance or pain or hurt or thoughts that just keep running, that keep looping, and in the exact same moment, you know, you can just close your eyes and take a breath and then like look into the same forest, and it's like there can be love for that fear. There can be spaciousness and just viewing the thoughts. There can be like an understanding, just an understanding that can arise for, you know, whatever is the judgment or resistance, or just like an understanding of yourself. And in that exact same moment, you can be seeing in such a different way. And I often think of it as just like deeply, deeply loving and understanding yourself and letting it all be okay for whatever is flowing through. It's like, for me, the initiation to mother has been so supportive for that, of like, oh, this is how you deeply love and care and hold space for yourself and others. And I remember like looking at my baby and going, whoa, like there's just that full, complete divine love of this being. And then going, that little baby could have been any baby. Like, yes, it's my baby, but it could have been, like, I didn't know who it was going to be. It could have been that or that baby, or any human, or you, or, and just showing me the potential that we have to love to every single human. And in that moment, when I realized that, it's like I could take that going forward into interactions with someone where I'm just feeling so much like separation or just like fear or defensiveness, or, and go, it's like I could tap into this love of all and know that actually they also have had hurt and pain, and they are just me looking at me, and my heart is their heart, and my love is, it's there, and I can choose to pierce through to it somehow with some comment that is vulnerable in the moment. I think like vulnerability in the moment of like choosing to bring awareness to the wall or the fear, or, and just somehow like going, I choose in this moment to see that person as not a threat, but a companion and someone I'm walking home with. And yeah, like I think that's been really powerful.
I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
You could have been my child. In a weird, yeah.
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 Like,
it's unconditional love.
yeah.
It's love of mother, and yeah, it's allowing you to tap into that which you are. And now it's reflected back to you, which is so beautiful.
I can see our papas with our babies out there, so I feel like
Yeah,
we
we
should
should wrap up.
probably
Yeah,
wrap up.
yeah, there's more questions, but we'll save it for another time.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like we had great chats.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm
Amazing.
really, really excited for this book to go out.
Yeah.
It's ready.
Beautiful
It's
cover,
coming.
this beautiful art and words. Thank you. Love you guys.